The Shameless Hypocrisy of Pennelope Beckles, a political leader without moral authority. An editorial by Professor Wall Street. Opposition leader Pennelope Beckles has once again demonstrated the depths of political shamelessness in her recent criticism of the United National Congress, UNC government's handling of crime. Her audacious condemnation of a government that has been in office for less than 3 months reveals a staggering lack of self-awareness and moral authority that should embarrass any serious political leader. Beckles' attempt to paint the UNC as ineffective on crime while conveniently ignoring her own party's catastrophic decade-long failure represents the worst kind of political opportunism. Her statements are not just hypocritical, they are an insult to the intelligence of the Trinidad and Tobago electorate and a disgraceful rewriting of recent history. Here are 10 reasons why Beckles' crime criticism is shameless. 1. Historical amnesia of epic proportions. Beckles speaks as if the People's National Movement, PNM, inherited a crime-free paradise in 2015. The reality is that under PNM leadership from 2015 to April 28, 2025, Trinidad and Tobago recorded 3 of the highest murder rates in its entire history. To criticize a 3-month-old government while ignoring a decade of failure requires a level of audacity that borders on the absurd. 2. The mathematics of moral bankruptcy. Simple arithmetic exposes Beckles' shamelessness. The PNM had 10 years to address crime, while the UNC has had less than 90 days. Expecting miraculous crime reduction in 3 months while excusing a decade of escalating violence demonstrates either profound mathematical illiteracy or deliberate intellectual dishonesty. 3. Selective memory on crime statistics. During the PNM's tenure, murder rates soared to unprecedented levels, yet Beckles now acts as if crime is a new phenomenon that began on April 28, 2025. This selective amnesia is not just politically convenient. It's an insult to the families of the thousands of victims who died during the PNM's watch. 4. The audacity of immediate blame. Beckles expects the UNC to solve in 3 months what her party failed to address in a decade. This unrealistic timeline reveals either a fundamental misunderstanding of how governance works or a calculated attempt to mislead the public about the complexity of crime reduction. 5. Ignoring systemic PNM failures. The crime surge under the PNM wasn't a temporary spike. It was a systematic failure of leadership, policy, and implementation. Beckles' criticism ignores the deep-rooted problems in police effectiveness, judicial efficiency, and crime prevention that festered under PNM rule. 6. Hypocrisy on political accountability. Beckles demands immediate accountability from a 3-month-old government while never adequately explaining her party's decade-long failure. This double standard reveals a leader more interested in political point scoring than genuine crime reduction. 7. Deflection from internal party chaos. Instead of addressing the massive internal problems plaguing the PNM, Beckles chooses to attack the UNC on crime. This deflection strategy suggests a leader unable to manage her own party's affairs, let alone provide credible opposition on national issues. 8. The weakness of the weak leadership. Beckles' nickname Weak appears increasingly apt as she demonstrates an inability to engage in substantive policy critique. Her crime criticism lacks depth, nuance, or constructive alternatives, hallmarks of weak political leadership. 9. Disrespect for crime victims. By using crime as a political football so soon after losing power, Beckles shows callous disregard for the victims of violence. Her opportunistic approach trivializes the suffering of those affected by the crime wave that escalated under her party's rule. 10. The shamelessness of historical revision. Perhaps most shamefully, Beckles attempts to rewrite history by implying that crime criticism of the PNM was unfair, while claiming such criticism of the UNC is justified. This revisionist approach to recent history demonstrates a level of shamelessness that undermines any credibility she might claim as opposition leader. The path forward. Beckles would serve Trinidad and Tobago better by focusing on fixing the significant internal problems within the PNM rather than launching premature attacks on a government still settling into office. Her criticism of the UNC's crime approach might carry weight if it came from a leader whose party had demonstrated competence in this area. Instead, it comes from someone whose party presided over some of the most violent years in the nation's history. The people of Trinidad and Tobago deserve better than this shameless political theater. They deserve an opposition leader who can provide constructive criticism based on genuine policy alternatives, not hollow attacks designed to deflect from past failures. Until Beckles can demonstrate this level of maturity and self-awareness, her crime criticism will remain what it is today. The desperate attempts of a weak leader trying to distract from her party's decade of failure. The moral authority to criticize must be earned through demonstrated competence and honest self-reflection. Beckles has shown neither, making her crime criticism not just shameless, but irrelevant to the serious task of making Trinidad and Tobago safer for all its citizens. In conclusion, Pennelope Beckles' shameless attack on the UNC government's crime record represents everything wrong with Trinidad and Tobago's political discourse. Her willingness to ignore a decade of PNM failures while condemning a 3-month-old administration reveals a leader more concerned with political survival than national progress. The citizens of Trinidad and Tobago face real security challenges that require serious leadership, not theatrical deflection. They need an opposition that offers credible alternatives and honest assessments, not revisionist history and opportunistic attacks. Beckles' current approach does nothing to advance crime reduction and everything to undermine public confidence in political leadership. No wonder many people in Trinidad and Tobago have nicknamed her Weak Penny. Her shameless deflection tactics and inability to provide substantive leadership have earned her this unflattering moniker. Until the PNM can honestly confront its own record and offer genuine solutions rather than hollow criticism, it will remain irrelevant to the national conversation on crime. The people deserve better than this shameless political theater. They deserve leaders who prioritize national security over partisan point scoring. Beckles must choose: continue down this path of shameless hypocrisy, or demonstrate the maturity and self-reflection necessary to provide constructive opposition. Her current trajectory suggests she has already made her choice, and it is not one that serves the best interests of Trinidad and Tobago.